Hi, this is CJ, and in this video we are going to be talking about SSL VPN on Checkpoint R75 platform. Okay, so what exactly is the SSL portal based VPN? Well, according to the definition or as per the book, well, the Checkpoint SSL VPN software blade is a comprehensive remote access solution. So it actually allows you to connect your home PC or any kiosk, any mobile PC to the corporate network and gain access to the applications which are hosted on the SSL VPN. And this actually allows mobile and remote workers to connect easily and securely from any location, whether it's a home, it's a cyber cafe, it's a kiosk, and all those things, with any internet devices to critical resources on the on your enterprise. Now, the software blade actually integrates easily into the existing Checkpoint Gateway, which enables more secure and operationally efficient remote access for our endpoint users, right? So data transmitted by the remote access is decrypted and then filtered and inspected in real time by Checkpoint security gateway services such as the antivirus, IPS, that is the intrusion prevention, and the web security using the HTTPS protocol, right? The SSL VPN software blade also includes secure methods for authentication and the ability to check the security posture of the remote device, which essentially means that the device, the end user computing device is actually compliant, but it's got the antivirus in place and all those things, right? So this is like something which the administrator in the enterprise environment actually enforce in order to be able to make sure that the particular device, only a compliant device, can connect to the corporate network. I mean, there are security policies which actually wants the computer to have a specific firewall or specific antivirus software, like for example semantic corporate security, something like that. Like in our environment, we have to have that thing. I think it's some semantic something. I'm not completely sure because I hardly use the SSL VPN for that. Anyways, so let me just pull up this thing. So we already talked about the SSL portal based VPN. Let's talk about the overview. So what exactly is that? So SSL portal based VPN, this actually supports Citrix applications, web services. It supports the webmail using Outlook Web Access, OVA. That's what we call for the Exchange server 2010, 2007, 2003, and it also supports Lotus Notes. Probably the only I application, the iNotes, which Apple doesn't have or that doesn't own. It's an iNotes application. It also supports the file share, which defines the collection of the files made available across the net by means of protocols such as the Secure Message Block (SMB) for Windows, that enables actions on files such as opening, reading, writing, deleting file across the network. SSL VPN, like I've already told you, it supports Citrix client connectivity to the internal Zen app server, right? And SSL VPN supports web and email services, OVA and iNotes. SSL is also, okay. Some of the applications may not be supported through the regular SSL VPN, and in that case, we have to install what is known as the SSL Network Extender. This is a small application which has to be installed on the client, right? And it's installed in two modes. One is the network mode, the other one is the application mode. I'm going to be talking about all those things. Okay, so extender is required when an application, certain bit of application is not supported through web, right? And we have to provide access to that. So we also have to understand that the SSL VPN is not exactly the IPsec VPN in terms of the application support. In order to gain the comprehensive support, we have to install the IPsec based VPN as opposed to SSL based VPN. Like some applications which are which has to be accessed over the remote desktop connection, all those things, we need to have we need to have IPsec for that. For the major part of the web-based applications like the OVA and the Citrix and all those things, SSL VPN works like a champ, right? So we have to understand that normally in my environment we have a combination of both the SSL VPN as well as the IPsec VPN, because there are a lot of applications which we cannot host, right? So let's talk about the key features of the SSL VPN. So one of the features of the Gateway with the central management for the SSL VPN is that the consolidated SSL VPN and the IPsec VPN which I talked about, connectivity in the unified secure remote access gateway. So both the information, both IPsec VPN as well as the SSL VPN can work in tandem, right? So integrated intrusion prevention, the IPS. This is actually required in order to be able to safeguard the firewall and the internal network through all the bad stuff that is transferred through the I would say the home PC or the kiosk, the kiosk and all those things. So intrusion prevention is required for that kind of thing, right? The centralized management unifies the policy deployment. So since we're going to be managing the SSL VPN through from a centralized portal, so we can deploy the policy, and we can also make sure that the client is client administration. If you want to install the network at the extender application, and it also facilitates the event reporting. Okay, so real-time security updates with the IPsec services is possible in SSL VPN. That's a good part of it. So this is how the security is maintained. For the as far as the end user experience is concerned, we have to ensure the session security when connecting from the public computers or the internet kiosk with the secure web workspace, right? Uninterrupted connectivity is ensured in the case of SSL VPN, right? Because we can use the we can roam about using the same laptop from one Wi-Fi to another Wi-Fi, and then the connectivity is not going to go down, right? Well, if you have access to both the SSIDs, right? And for the token, if you want to include the two-factor authentication, that is, one is the password and one is the SMS or the SMS tokens and all those things, then that can also be possible using this. Okay, let's talk about the deployment options. So deployment options are like, one is the appliance. So you purchased a full range of SSL VPN actually they are known as Connectra, CONNECTRA applications, which are available to align with the enterprise remote access requirement. Or you can install the SSL VPN on a wide variety of open servers like the Splat. Like this particular lab that we have is based on the Splat, which is running on top of the VMware. So we can install the additional blade on the existing security gateway for the headquarter, and that is exactly I'm going to do after this discussion. Right. The third is the virtual appliance. So we have the SSL VPN or the Connectra is certified on the VMware ESX server as an virtual appliance, reducing operating cost for the ISPs and all those things. Now let's talk about the deployment options, deployment topologies. Let me open this diagram here. This is the first one. Okay, sorry for the bad drawing. It's going to improve in the second scenario. So this is a scenario 1. So we have a corporate we have a remote access client with home PC or the PC at the kiosk and all those things. It's connected to the internet, and this is connected to the firewall. This firewall has got the SSL VPN blade installed on it, and this is actually is the gateway through which the applications are accessed. This is a pretty simple scenario. This is actually a recommended deployment for a simple SSL VPN topology, right? It's also the least expensive and the easiest to configure, as it only requires one gateway machine for easy and secure remote access. Okay, now let me just close this one, open this one. Okay, this is still better, good lines and all. Okay, in this scenario, the security gateway, the SSL gateway, is a separate gateway altogether, right? This could be an appliance, it could be you know, I would say running on the Splat, the virtual thing, like what we have right now. So what exactly happens is that, so this particular firewall gets collects the information from the end user and process the information request to this, and this also goes through this firewall after being authenticated, and then the access to the servers are reached. This particular gateway can however directly gain access to these firewall without having to go through this firewall. That is also possible. Okay, so if you wanted to describe it, it's like when an SSL VPN is placed in the DMZ. This is actually a DMZ. I'm sorry, I forgot to label it. The traffic from both the internet and the LAN to the SSL VPN gateway is subject to the firewall restrictions, right? So by deploying it to the DMZ, any need to enable the direct access from the internet, this one, to the LAN is avoided, right? And remote users all initiate the SSL connection to the SSL VPN gateway, and the firewall is configured, this thing, the firewall is configured to allow from the user to the SSL VPN server, from this server to this server, okay? Where SSL termination, web application intelligence inspection, or AI, I guess, authentication and authorization take place. So authentication, web and application intelligence happens here, and this actually permits the traffic which is supposed to be allowed the SSL VPN. Okay, so it's kind of a two-factor thing. So optionally, another leg of SSL VPN can lead directly to the LAN, like this one. And in this setup, traffic does not have to go back through the firewall, before reaching the LAN. Okay, so this is the second scenario. Let's talk about a third one. Okay, here both the firewalls have the SSL blade installed on them. This is actually working in a cluster, right? So this particular green line is the heartbeat, the synchronization. This is the LAN interface. This is the red one, the bad one is the WAN interface, the WAN. And in this kind of scenario, this is actually required where there's a lot of remote access clients, and you need to be able to balance the load between the SSL blades, SSL firewalls, and that is exactly why you need this kind of setup, right? This is actually equivalent to this one minus the additional firewall. Okay, this is exactly this one. All right. So like I said, if it's requiring a large number of concurrent remote access users, and continuous uninterrupted remote access is crucial to our environment, that's when this kind of scenario is required. Okay. Now let's talk about this one. Let me see what I'm going to talk about now. SSL management. The SSL management is done just like any other management is done through the SMS server, the security management server. There's a blade. There's a tab for the SSL management. We're going to be configuring all the settings through that tab, or on that tab rather. Okay. So I'm just going through this theory right now. Once we are through with this thing, we are going to be configuring this stuff. So it is important that we understand the theory first before we jump onto the configuration, because we have to first install a blade the remote access blade, and I'm going to pause this video at the end of the theory session, and then I'm going to jump straight into the configuration uh, with the disk ready. I'm going to find the disk with as to where the virtual disk for the checkpoint is gone. Well, just give me. I'll be taking like a 5-minute break after this. Okay. So now talk about the SSL extender. We'll talk about these things. Let's talk about this thing, the SSL extender. So what exactly is this? The SSL extender. I'm sorry, I'm just like rushing too fast. This actually makes makes it possible to access native applications via the SSL and the VPN SSL. So what exactly is the native applications? The native applications are basically those things which are I would say not exactly supported by web. I mean, in the purest definition, I'll have to check on the internet as to what exactly is a native application. I mean, how you can describe it. But as far as what I have observed when I was trying to install this SSL VPN on my environment, there are a lot of applications which are not supported. We have an in-house application known with the name called Celsus, CELSUS, that was not exactly supported with with clientless SSL VPN, and for that we needed to have this installation. So native applications are actually these are not clientless, meaning they require SSL network extender component on the client machine. The native application it's any IP-based application that is hosted on the internal server that we have. Like we have a Celsus server, we have a Jade, J as in Juliet, A as in Apple, D as in David, E as in Echo. Jade server is another. I would say it's a very robust SSL application that we had, it's actually a kind of a Google crawler that we have in our environment. So like I said, like I said, the native application is any IP-based application installed on the server, and SSL extender is used to access the application and encrypt all the traffic between the endpoint, that's the user's computer, and the SSL VPN. Okay, one of the applications could be Microsoft Exchange. The OVA can be accessed without the extender, but the Microsoft Exchange if you want to gain access to that directly, then you will have to install the extender. Okay, so Microsoft Exchange, Telnet, I would say FTP are all examples of the native application servers. So much so for the native application and the extender. Now, network extender is something which is downloaded automatically from the SSL VPN portal to the end user machine, right? So that the client software, this is going to automatically push it to this computer. Okay, so that the client software does not have to be pre-installed and configured for users and laptop SSL thing. So network extender tunnels application traffic using a secure encrypted and authenticated SSL tunnel to SSL VPN. What does that say is that there will be a tunnel. One tunnel is obviously here, and this is going to run through it, and it's going to make sure that this traffic is also encrypted. Let me see if I can draw this. Paint. All the way here. Sorry for the bad drawing. Okay, so SSL network extender, like I told you before as well, works in two modes. One is the network mode, and the other one is the application mode. So in the network mode, that once we have installed the client, an authenticated user, which has been authenticated by the gateway, can actually access any authorized internal resources that is defined on the SSL VPN as a native application. The user can access the resources by launching the client application somewhere, which is going to be somewhere here at the bottom, right? And either directly from the desktop or from the SSL VPN portal. So in network mode, we have the client application which can be run from desktop or from the VPN portal, right? And what kind of permissions are required? When working with the SSL network extender mode inside secure workspace or secure domain, traffic from the outside the secure workspace routed through the SSL VPN, like if it is SSL VPN somewhere here, is also encrypted. Okay, the second one is the application mode. Now application mode, after the client is already installed, the user can access the internal resource that is defined on the SSL VPN, but unlike the network mode, the application must be installed from the SSL VPN portal and not from the user's desktop. Okay, so most TCP applications can be accessed in application mode, and the user does not need administrator privileges on the client computer. Okay, so let's talk about the SSL VPN security. So how does SSL ensure security? SSL VPN. So the checkpoints SSL VPN, I would say. So first of all, we have the IPS, the Intrusion Prevention System product. This ensures that the web intelligence component of the IPS enables protection against the malicious code that is like transferred through the wire, right, to the internet, to the cloud, I would say, which could be like worms, like various attacks and all those things. And we have the SASA bomb kind of stuff like SQL injection, and we have the command injection directory traversal, and the HTTP code execution or inspection thing, right? So IPS services are downloads new defense mechanism to the IPS console and brings existing defense mechanism up to date. Okay. Next is the antivirus. Many antivirus settings enabled on the security gateway also apply to the SSL VPN traffic, prevents viruses from reaching end users and the enterprises. Okay. Then we have the web application support over the HTTPS. That is also going to ensure that the encryption is there. So all traffic to the web-based applications encrypted using the HTTPS access is allowed for the specific application set rather than the full network level access. Only a subset is allowed. Okay. So and then next is the encryption, the SSL network the extender, the application that is installed on the desktop. That application actually encrypts traffic using the 3DES and the RC4 encryption algorithm. Okay, and finally we have the granular authorization policy, which limits the users and actually limits the granted access to which application by enforcing authentication, encryption, client security requirement. So much so for the theory. Now we're going to be installing the blade for the SSL VPN. So in order to do that, I'm going to be installing this thing on the the headquarters security gateway. And in order to be able to do that, we first have to make sure that the disk is inserted. So let's go to settings, let's go to CD DVD, browse, and here it is, the Checkpoint R75 disk. Double click on it, click on OK. It's now inserted. So let me just log into this thing. Admin, the password remains the same, and now we have to type sysconfig. Here you can see the option number 10 is product installation, so type 1010 and you have to click on next or N on the screen. You have to click on Y in order to accept the EULA, and here you have to enable the blade number 7, which is mobile access. In I believe in R71 this was named as SSL VPN. Now in R75 they had renamed it as the mobile access. So press 7 on your keyboard, press N for next, mobile access, press N again, and now it's going to install the SSL VPN. I'm going to pause this video and I'm going to be back once this installation is done. Don't forget to reboot the firewall. So let me just reboot it. Reboot. Oh, sorry. Get out of this thing. E and reboot. So now I am going to pause this video. Alright, so we have installed the mobile access blade as per R75 or SSL VPN blade as per the R71 platform. So in this demonstration we are going to be talking about how to enable file share access over SSL VPN, and also how to I would say if we have time we can do remote desktop application, remote desktop access. And this particular computer headquarter graphical user interface or headquarter GUI client is going to share file, and later we're going to be gaining access to it over the remote desktop protocol. Okay, so let me just first create a folder and share it. Let me give it a file name. The share name would be say my share. Okay, and just for grins I am going to allow everyone access to this. So share this folder, permission everyone, all. In the production network it's not supposed to be like this, but this is just a lab environment, so it doesn't matter. Everyone. Okie dokie. Everyone has got access. This is another PC in the headquarters, so let me see if this can access the share, and let me try transferring a couple of files in it. This can go in here, and this too. Okay, so let's see if this can actually. Alright, my share. Okay, so this is working fine. Okay, so let's get back to the GUI client and let's open the smart dashboard. John is a super administrator or the king of the hill. Okay, so first of all we have to go to the Checkpoint security gateway object for the headquarter or the SG corporation and see if the mobile access, once again if you are using R71 then this is going to be SSL VPN. Now they have renamed it to mobile access, so this has to be checked. If it's unchecked, the moment you check it, it's going to bring up this wizard, so you can very well cancel it. Okay, I have cancelled it, I have closed it. The tab has also been renamed to mobile access from SSL VPN, so don't get confused. Okay, so now we are going to first of all we're going to be creating a username, a user, we're going to be creating a group, and we're going to be defining a policy for a particular application, and that application is the file share. Okay, so if you go to mobile access for the exam preparation for CCSE, what you have to do is explore all these, everything. Not everything can be covered in a video, right? And all these options are very intuitive, very easy to understand. Okay, so we are concentrating under the file share. Okay, so click on the under the policy, under the application, click on file share, click on new, give a name to the file. I would say, okay, file share. File share. All right, the authorized location. We already have an object for the GUI client, so we can select it. If we do not have it, we can always define it here. This is going to bring up this thing. This can also be brought up by going to the network tab under firewall tab. And okay, let's select the GUI client. We are not going to be defining the multiple servers, so this GUI client is there. For grins, for right now, I'm just going to be selecting the first option, allow access to any file share. Okay, we don't have to define the particular file share. I'm going to be accessing anything. Fine. The link portal. Okay, so by default, no, not this one. The link portal is different. I'm talking about this one. I thought protection level. Oh my god. Hold on a second. Yeah. The link portal. Here we have to define the path of the file, the share itself, and we can give a name to this. And we can also give a tooltip, like when we hover the mouse on top of the URL. If you can read this thing, when the user holds the mouse on top of the application name, this text will appear. Okay, if you want to give that, that's fine. If you don't want to give it, that's okay. I am going to type headquarter share and give the name to the directory, and that would be 10.1. No, this is what? This is 10.2.1.201. Okay, 10.2.1.201. 10.2.1.201 backslash myshare. I believe that was the one, right? myshare 10.2, not the file share, the myshare. Perfect. This is the one. Okay, you can leave this blank, not a problem. Single sign-on, you can leave this like this, and you can click on protection level and select the first one. This application relies on the security requirement of the gateway. In order to, there are some of the applications which are pretty sensitive. Say for example, you have an application through which a lot of money transfer is done. Now that requires additional level of security. So you click on this, and you can click on permissive, restrictive, and normal, and you have to then define the protection level. If you want to, that according to your needs, you can do that here, right? Otherwise, you can just select this one. If you want to gain more information, you can just click on this, and you will be able to figure out what exactly is the protection level. But as the name suggests, let me just try to compare two things. One is the file access, the other one is the money transfer access. The file access does not require robust security okay, the file access, not the file corporate files, some kind of software downloads which are free, right? Not the paid softwares, the free software that you have stashed in your file server for the end users to be able to download them over the VPN. You can define the normal policies for that. However, if you want to, if there are some money transfers through a particular server, then that particular application has to be configured as restrictive, because that is going to add another layer of protection. For this particular lab, I'm going to select the first one. Okay, so that is the first one. Now we have defined the file share. You can review it. General properties, file share, authorized location is the GUI client, and I'm going to allow access to any file share. The portal is this, and this is the path of the file share. Okay, and the protection level is the first one. The application relies on the security requirement of the gateway and a single sign-on. That's perfectly fine. We are not talking about the dual authentication or the multi-factor authentication. Now we go to the users tab and define a new user. Okay, you click on new user, click on default, and type here, let me see. Okay, Obama, yes. That's going to be the username. Authentication, checkpoint. Type an 8-character password. Okay. Alright. Now you define the user group. Click on here. This thing. Mobile underscore access. And you can add the group here. Click on this. So review it. Mobile access, the group has been created and Obama has been made part of that mobile access group. Okay, and the file share has also been created. Now we go to the policies. Once again, one more thing is that if you have the domain name, domain server settings configured for the firewall, you can eliminate this. You can replace this with the host name of the server, right? At this point in time, the security gateway is not able to resolve it, but if you have the DNS server configured, which is not a big deal, it's pretty simple, you can do that, and then this particular thing is also going to be able to resolve this particular firewall. Okay, so click on, alright, it's here. Click on policies. Now in the policies, click on add. Now you will see this access to application. Click on add. There's only one application right now, the one group. Click on the group, the application, and click on the application file share, install, and we have to install in the corp. The reason why only corp is being shown here, because that's the only server or the only firewall where we have installed the blade corp. Okay, so that is all there is to it. So double click on it to make sure. User group, mobile access, you want to select mobile access to check if Obama is part. It is. Application file share, double click on the application here to verify it one last time. Everything is spot on. Install on this perfectly fine. Okay, that's good. You can save it one more time. Okay, now we have configured the, we have defined a user specific you know, a custom port for the firewall access. This is 4434 HTTPS TCP 4434. Now this SSL thing works over on 443 port. Now in order to be able to do that, so we have to add the HTTPS port here. Okay, so we're going to be accessing the portal, the SSL portal from the branch PC, this one, and this portal is actually going to be it's already configured on the SG Corp on which the blade was installed. So, and just to gain the access to the splat, we have to use this port, but in order to be able to gain access to the SSL, we have to use this port. Make sense? Now, install the policies and let's see if it works. Come on. Perfect. The policy is installed. Now we go back to the branch PC. We log in here, type the password and the username. Okay, now let's open the browser and we have to type this IP address. Hold on. GUI. Just hover the mouse on top of this one. 10211. Okay, 10211. Where is it? HTTPS 10221. Oops. All right. So why is this not working? 10221. 102. No. 10211. I'm sorry. 10211. 10211. Click on this. Superb. Sweet. Now this is actually what people get when they log in from home or from any kiosk. Okay, this is the SSL VPN. Now we're gonna be logging with the ID Obama. Perfect. As you can see that we have advertised the share, headquarter share. Click on this. You will see this here. It's actually picking up. I tried to perform this kind of step in the past, so that is actually how it picked up. We shouldn't be doing this thing. You can click on this. It says reuse my portal username and password to access files. This will only going to work if you have this particular user and password, the Obama and the ID on this computer, which I have defined. Let me show you that. Let me see. Control space user passwords 2. I have defined Obama and given the same username password. So let's see if we can work through this. Reuse the password. Let's see if it works. It should work. My share. Well, ideally it should work. Let me see. Let me try accessing it. Give me one moment. Let me open the Smart View tracker in the meantime. And come on. This was granting permission to everyone. Okay. And well, normally it's not a good idea to have the portal username mapped to the share as well. So we can troubleshoot it, not a problem, but we already have an account, administrator account. Let me see if that works. Hold on. Administrator, and the password is this. Let's see if this works. Yep, this thing works. Seems like there's some problem with the password and the username. Not a problem. I'm going to fix that thing. Okay, so this is exactly what we published in the share. As you can see it on this particular folder, Smart Console, and you can click on this thing to download it. See, now it's gonna come from all the way from here, passing through the firewall to the router to the branch to this and here. So this actually certifies end-to-end connectivity, which is absolutely great for the demonstration purposes. Perfect. From this to this. Okay, so you can just log off from here, sign out. Okay, so that was the end of the first thing, the file share. Now I'm going to be talking about the remote desktop and making use of the native application which actually requires the installation of an ActiveX client, or I would say Checkpoint client, in order to be able to carry out the task. This cannot be done directly, or just as like a regular SSL VPN thing. You have to be able to make sure that you advertise this thing on the using the native application. Okay, so let's do that thing. Go back to the GUI, click on this, just close it out. First of all, make sure that you have remote desktop running on this particular computer. Remote desktop, yeah, both remote desktop and remote assistance is running. Remote assistance is not required. You can check it, uncheck it. Now click on this. Okay, so go back to the mobile access blade. In the native application, click on new, type the name of this application. I would say branch underscore RDP. All right, authorized is GUI client, because we are going to be taking the remote desktop of the GUI client. Service is going to be TCP remote desktop. It's kind of difficult to find this thing here. Where is TCP remote desktop? Remote desktop protocol. Yes, TCP remote desktop protocol. If you want to add more services, you can click on advanced, click on add here, type the host. All right, select the host, type here, click add, and add more services one by one. Oh, does the shift work? Oops, let me see if the shift works. Yeah, the control also works fine. So I'm going to be exiting out of this, canceling out. Simple is what I want. Endpoint application. Here we're going to define the application which has to be called upon and the parameters of the remote desktop application. Okay, so here you can type the name of the application as the remote desktop application, remote desktop connection, and then you have to you can just leave it. I'm going to type RD, not a problem. Okay, here we define the path of the file. So in order to be able to check that, you can go to, normally it's MSTSC, which is Microsoft Terminal Service Connection or Client, Terminal Service Client. C Windows System 32, and I believe it's MSTSC. Yeah, this is the one, MSTSC. Copy this path, paste it here. Now for the Windows administrator, you must be knowing that when we have to define, when we try to take the remote desktop using the CLI, we type MSTSC -v, and then we give the IP address, the IP of the person, or of the host, right? In the same manner, we have to type the switch V and then define the IP address. The IP address is the IP address of this particular machine, and that is IP config 10.2.1.2.0.1. Don't forget to put the colon 10.2.1.2.0.1. Give a space, and now we can define the resolution by typing the another option, or what do you call this thing, handler, whatever. Okay, width should be this is a small Windows, so 1024, and height could be 768. Okay, you can define it here as well, custom properties, if you want to. That's perfectly fine. Otherwise you can just choose this. So remote desktop connection is the name. RD, this is the path of the application. Make sure that this is correct. /v, then the IP address. It should map the IP address of the client of the computer you want to advertise. Publish 10.2.1.2.0.1, 10.2.1.2.0.1. Width is 1024 pixels and height is equal to 768. Click on here to see if you want to change any settings. No, we don't want to do anything. Click on OK. Now, having defined this branch thing, we can go back to the policy and we can edit it and go to applications. We have defined another application, the native one. Double click on it. Install is fine, this is fine, this is absolutely fine. Click on OK, and let me see if I can go back to native application. If you want to log in the changes, you can click on this one, and you can define whether you want to log on unsuccessful events or all access events. I will just choose all access events. Okay, so we are good to go. Click on save, click on install, there is perhaps one more thing that's left to be done. Click on policy. It's not a mandatory requirement, but you can always keep an eye on this thing. So go to policy, go to global properties, go to where is the remote desktop, remote access here, expand this and go to extender. Why extender? Because we are going to be installing a client, just like what we see in the ActiveX client, when we are required to access anything which requires access, ActiveX, something like that. So here we can define whether we want to use certificate with enrollment, legacy, or mixed. You can click on the wide impact to know more. Also applies to the secure client mode, mobile device, and Abra clients. Okay, and you can define this is what I talked about during the theory section. And here we have to figure out what exactly we want. Do we want to uninstall it? We want to keep the application installed at the end of the session, or we want to always uninstall, or we ask the user. I'm going to say I'm going to ask the user. Click on, once again, these are all optional. By default, everything's going to work fine. So now you can go ahead and push the policy. Let's see what happens here. In the meantime, let me go back to the branch PC and clear the cache. We're going to be starting fresh. clear the cache. Yeah, everything. 10.2.1.1 is the IP address we have to hit. Where is it? Policy pushed. All right, that is always a good sign. Go to BPC and type https colon 10.2.1.1 10.2.1.1. Oops, 10.2.1.1 10.2.1.1. Okay, configure. Barack Obama should log in now. Okay, now you can see that there's a connect. So the moment you click on this, and it's powered by Checkpoint SSL Extender, right? This is what I was talking about in my theories class. Click on this, and this is the agent that has to be installed on the computer, and you have to click on this, install the ActiveX client. It says installed. Just give it a moment. It will install. Now it says connecting. SSL is installed. User is connected. Okay, so now we can go ahead and remote desktop into it. Let's see if we can do that. Is it going to work? Let's see. MSTSC. I haven't tried this thing. 10.2.1.201. Perfect. This is the headquarter GUI. Administrator. Okay, the reason why I haven't got this particular screen is because I have logged into the different session. Users here, see? But what I can do is that I can go here. Since I have also logged in as administrator, I can kind of hijack this and get into this. Sweet! See, everything is working fine as per the plan. So SSL VPN is a good thing. Not every application can be fully supported. You will have to use IPsec for that, for those applications. But for simple things like like the remote desktop and file share access, it works like a charm. Once again, you have to explore all these options. There's nothing into it, nothing web application. This could be webmail. This is definitely the OWA and the iNotes native application I've already shown. So there are a lot more native applications which are not natively supported, or which requires which are not non-connectionless. No, which are connectionless means without connection. Clientless. So many terms, man. So host, network resources, the DNS, the hosts, and all those things. Services that IPS profile. Okay. If you want to configure this thing, IPS, which can actually increase the security between the endpoint client and the server, you can do that here. Okay, and endpoint security on demand. This is actually the IPsec thing. additional, you don't need certificate. You just have to go through all these menu, and obviously for the real world you have to configure things as per the requirement of your enterprise or the third or the consultant, whatever. So this has been one of the most wonderful videos. I have shown you SSL VPN, and that's it. Thanks for being so patient on this. It's gonna be whenever I make a video, it always turns out to be a long one. All right, bye bye.